Live from the Ottoman Empire, it's Saturday Night Live with Franny Pittman, Vaughn Mihawk, Sophie Regley, Devin Hardesty, Elijah Lang, Madeline Dollins, and Mackenzie Rowe. We would like to start off the show with a thank you note to each factor in our downfall, from average Ottoman citizens to lowly SNL writers.
Thank you, Europeans, for bringing in cheap manufactured goods and damaging our local economies.
Thank you, economic problems, for making every other problem in the empire so much worse.
Thank you, Atlantic Ocean trade, for becoming a thing and making us irrelevant.
Thank you again, Europeans, for signing capitulations with us, because it was all downhill from there.
Thank you, increased taxation, for making everyone poor.
Thank you, monarchy, for only caring about yourself and not the people.
Thank you, Russia, for taking advantage of our poorly defended borders in Caucasus and Central Asia. That was the last of our land, guys. Come on.
Thank you, government, for not making our borders strong enough to keep out the enemies.
Thank you, Napoleon, for taking Egypt from us.
Thank you, Janissaries, for neglecting military training and losing our land, you preteens.
Thank you, officers, for not disciplining our military and letting everyone walk all over us.
Thank you, Janissaries, for not advancing your military technologies and making us fall behind the Europeans. Again.
Thank you, military, for not doing your one job of protecting us.
Next up, we present to you a skit of the attempt at reform in the crumbling empire.
Sultan Mahmud, what are your motives behind ordering this council meeting?
Due to the increased presence of European nations in our empire, I have decided that in order to increase our chance of survival, it is key that we impose and enforce new legislation that will reform our dying government.
Woo! Yeah!
Silence in the council! To begin with.
I'm so glad we were able to discover this secretive location for this meeting.
We cannot stay docile anymore. Our empire is crumbling and our people are dying. We must do something to prevent this. The Sultan is not doing enough for us. We must demand our own reformation, one that happens quickly and truly preserves our country. We'll call this meeting the Young Ottomans.
The first rule of the Young Ottomans Club is that we don't talk about the Young Ottomans Club.
The most important part of this reformation is that it is slow and steady. It cannot threaten our people because they will not accept change readily.
We want change now! Yes, there's no time to waste.
Yes!
First, we must modernize our army. I will recruit European generals who will train our army. We must do this in order to defeat our enemies and defend our territory. We cannot lose to these modern armies any longer.
Our sole focus should be the legal system, as is the reason we are dying. If we mirrored the Europeans, we might have a chance for survival. A constitutional government will save us.
Yes. Nice. It is vital that we create a secondary school that can aid in the transfer from mosque school to our new academies. This will create stronger and more educated men that will lead our empire to survival and farther.
Sure, education is important, but more importantly are the rights of our citizens. We must have rights to public trials, rights to privacy, and equality for all subjects. This will help our citizens. It won't just give them rights, it will also make us more similar to the Europeans, who will view us as equals.
The Europeans will never view us as equals. Another step that must be taken is that we must remove the power from the elites and invest in our council. This will make our state more stable and allow us to have complete control. No longer will the wealthy states who only care about themselves undermine our government.
Woo!
The purpose of this Tanzimat movement is to modernize our empire, while also protecting its core beliefs. We must bring civil rights and liberties to our people, regardless of their religion.
Yeah.
Council adjourned.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jeff Stone.
And I'm Terrence D. Well, there goes Egypt. Napoleon tried at first, but it was an epic fail. All he did was create massive turmoil in Egypt. Ultimately, Muhammad Ali, not to be confused with the greatest boxer of all time, drafted peasants to take over Egypt. To train his troops, he hired Italian officers. He industrialized Egypt, and Egypt became a producer of cotton tiles and ornaments. He eventually established himself the effective ruler of Egypt. Egypt was finally on the map again as a world power.
Well, that's real interesting there, Terrence. But I've got another news story coming at you. You know, for years, the Ottomans have been kidnapping young boys and converting them to an elite fighting force. Now, this practice has been working out great for years, but for some reason, they've begun to not want to fight for the people that stole them from their families. You know, this really reminds me of how I used to read every night for AP World, and now I don't. This fighting force eventually fell to pieces and was destroyed by the Sultan, much like my AP World grade.
As Europe became more industrialized, they shipped inexpensive and high-quality products into the Ottoman Empire, and this caused riots with craft workers. I'd be a little mad too if my main job was getting overtaken by the Europeans. They now had no customers for their products because the European products were cheaper and higher quality. They did, however, have some exports, but they were still not enough to offset the value of European imports. This means that they had to take loans from Europe to stay afloat. The Ottoman Empire's financial problems are a recipe for disaster.
The world has been rapidly industrializing. However, the Ottomans have decided that they won't industrialize and instead will rely upon their European neighbors. Just like how I have decided to stop doing my AP World homework and instead rely on my classmates to do it. This has caused a handful of economic difficulties for the Ottomans, including a massive trade deficit and a toxic reliance upon the Europeans. Similarly, my lack of work ethic in AP World has caused bad grades and a large amount of stress. As this debt increased, so did the Ottomans' lack of industrialization, which included lack of railroads, utilities, and mining enterprises. Hopefully, the Ottomans will be able to dig themselves out of this hole. But honestly, Terrence, I doubt it.
Thank you, and
Good night.
night.
Well, it's just kind of been annoying lately because people keep trying to take our ideas and, like, they should just create their own. Like, obviously, they'll never be as powerful as us British, and it's just hard work industrializing the world on our own. It's also hard having so much haters. Like, sorry our products are better and cheaper than yours. It's not our fault we are so talented and making all of you guys go out of business. I mean, look at these Turkish people trying to respond to the global capitalism. It's kind of cute, really. They invaded the Byzantine Empire, which was a really smart move on their part, but I wish they didn't even try because we will always be more powerful than them. Like, a lot of people are also so hesitant on accepting westernization. Like, it's the way to go, and it's really dumb on their part. Us British people always have the newest and, like, bestest things, so basically we could make fetch happen, but people just don't want us to, and it's hard to watch them want to see us fail.
I can really see where you're coming from, but like, look at all we've created. We can make products fast and can easily help support many countries. The Turkish people really depend on us. And obviously the Turkish people will never come close to our level of machinery and factories. They'll always be able to give us products in return, and we will always make a profit because our goods are overall better, because we are better. The Ottomans also depend on us for survival. Without our life-changing inventions, they would be nothing. I know this whole concept of being the best is really difficult, but never forget the best form of flattery is imitation. Pretty hurts, and there ain't no rest for the best. Thanks for coming in today. My patient after you's here. See you next week.